Welcome back to Conversations. I'm Rusty Ray. We talk to people in the North Metro who are doing interesting things or are leading interesting efforts or programs. And today, definitely somebody interesting. It's Stacy Bauer who joins us now, and you are an author.
Yes,
Just
I
like
am.
that.
Yeah, well.
Wasn't that easy, right?
No.
Well, that's why we wanted to have you here to talk, because you have, over the past, I say, handful of years, few years, have self-published and now continue to self-publish children's books. Where did this start? How did this, you were a mom and this idea came to you, or what?
Well, I've been writing stories since I was a kid. In fact, my daughter and I were going through some of our old things, and I actually found my first book series that I wrote when I was 8 with notebooks and cardboard and all that. And then I became a teacher, and I became a mom, and I taught for, gosh, 13 years, and life just kind of went by. But I always had it in the back of my mind that I wanted to publish a book someday. So in 2017, I was staying home with my son Wyatt, and I thought, you know what, I've always wanted to publish a book. I'm just going to do it. And I thought it'll just be really easy. I'll just write the book, and then somehow magically it will become a book. And I didn't even think about selling it or anything. I just wanted to get it done. So I ended up writing a list of ideas, things that my kids had done before that I could write about, kind of like Berenstain Bears, have a lesson, but have it be kind of fun or funny. And so the first one I did that I thought about doing was the Too Many Sweets book, because my daughter Cami started sneaking treats when she was 3. So I wrote the draft. That was April of 2017. And then after that, I didn't know what to do. I just kind of sat there, and I talk to a lot of authors nowadays that they have the same problem. They have a great idea, they write the first draft, and then they don't know where to go from there. And that's kind of where I was stuck at. So I ended up asking friends and family, hey, do you know anyone that has ever written a book before? And my sister actually went to high school with somebody whose wife had just written a book and started her own publishing company. So I hooked up with her, and she kind of got me going in the right direction.
And subsequently, you've written how many more books since that?
Yeah, so this one was 2018. This one came out last spring. This one I just had some pages taken out of my other books and made into like an activity book. Somebody did that for me.
Okay, very good.
And then being a teacher and a mom, I've always wanted to write about kindness. So this is kind of an activity book with new illustrations for kids to color, but also journaling and drawing. And this one came out in November.
And once that, so subsequently you've kind of followed the same blueprint. You kind of had to forge that road and find that connection, the publisher, find the answers that you needed, but subsequently has it been easier then once you had another idea to then publish a book?
Yeah, so with the first book, yeah, I had the idea, and then once I met Lindsay, she kind of got me pointed in the right direction. So that summer I'm doing all this myself, so I created my website, stacycbauer.com. I had no idea how to make a website or do any of that, so I had to do a lot of research. It took me a long time because I'm a teacher, so I'm not used to that kind of thing. And then I got on Instagram, and I got on Facebook, and I found my illustrator, Rebecca, who is in Michigan. So she actually had just graduated from art school when I found her. She's right here. And this is the first book she's ever done. So
oh wow.
Yeah.
Let's
so I found her. Yeah. So we're newbies together. So that whole process took about 6 months just to kind of get started. And then it takes her 6 months for the illustrations. And as she was doing that, I soon realized, wow, this is going to cost thousands of dollars to get this book published, because with the illustrations and the printing and the marketing and the editing and all that, and a lot of authors too will tell me, well, I don't have the money to spend $8,000 to self-publish a book, and so that's why I went with Kickstarter. So then I started researching that in November and did a ton of research again on how to run a Kickstarter campaign, and then I ended up being successful in March. So
and each of these have been funded in part or
yes. Yeah, and I'm doing it again.
Right.
I mean, it's a lot of work, but I feel like with any business, I've been doing this for 2.5 years, and I don't have the profit. I don't have $10,000 just in my bank account that I can use to publish the next book. So I'm still kind of in the beginning stages of my business, still getting going with making profit and all that. So.
Well, from the beginning, what was it about Cami Kangaroo, this character that you developed, and the message? You said you wanted to have it kind of be educational and there be a moral to the story, or whatever you want to call it. What is it about that character that you think has worked and has resonated with readers and with parents?
Well, the character is based on my daughter, Cami, and I also have Wyatt, who's my son. And I just feel like my daughter has a lot of the same little quirks that a lot of kids do. So she, in the first book, she has a sweet tooth. She still does have a sweet tooth, but she doesn't sneak anymore, supposedly. Anyway, she has a sweet tooth, and a lot of parents have said to me, oh my gosh, that reminds me of my daughter, or even teachers, their students, or and then in the second book, it's about her messy room. Well, I mean, how many of us have kids that have trouble keeping their rooms clean?
Yeah, right,
I mean, and adults will say to me, your 2 books are about me. I mean, I just think they're relatable topics. Cami has a good heart. She isn't naughty on purpose. She tries to do the right thing, but she's a kid, so she wants candy, and mommy's busy, and you know, she was 3. Because some people will say, well, you should have disciplined her, and it's like, well, she was 3. Yeah. So I mean, she did grow out of it, and we did talk about it a lot. But so the stories, I think, are relatable. The character is relatable because she's a mischievous child who sneaks around to get the things that she wants. And with the messy room, we have different opinions about what a clean room looks like. She's very creative. So her room is not toys. It's mostly projects like cardboard and toilet paper tubes.
I can absolutely relate to that. Of a child of a similar age.
And I feel bad. I can't even walk in there, but she'll say, "Mommy, don't throw away my things. I'm making something." You know, and she's got 10 things going at the same time, and it's just it just gives me anxiety even looking at it. So then she just tells me to close the door.
We have to hide tape from my daughter.
Yes.
Because she wants to,
My daughter asked me for tape for Christmas. Literally, that's what she wanted, was Scotch tape. So I got her some rolls of Scotch tape and her own little tape dispenser.
That sounds
I'm like,
fantastic.
Whatever, girl, that's
ever.
fine. Yeah.
So why a kangaroo?
So the Kangaroo came about, I knew I wanted to do animals because as a teacher, I wanted something that every child could relate to, no matter how old they were, what they look like, what background they came from, boy or girl. So I decided to do an animal, and I wanted an animal that wasn't overdone, that was cute and mischievous, and then so I made a list of all these animals, and I thought raccoon, that'd be kind of fun because raccoons like to sneak food and all that, and I thought, oh, maybe a bunny, or I don't even remember what else I had on the list. But then one of my good friends actually said, you should do kangaroo, because there's not a lot of books that star kangaroos, and it'd be really fun for her to keep things in her pouch. So it actually ended up working out great, because in the first book she keeps her treats in her pouch, and in the second book she keeps her stuff in her pouch.
Okay.
So in the third book, which is about screen time, who knows what she'll have in her pouch?
Yeah. Well, she'll have snacks and she'll have her stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's good. Don't bother her, right? Don't
exactly.
Right.
And then the jumping thing too, like the jumping up in the pantry to get the treats on top of the refrigerator. So the jumping kind of works into the stories too.
So once you kind of got the first book out there and got people to buy it, whether it be online or in traditional stores right here in the metro area, right? You had them.
Yep.
What was most surprising from that for you personally? So okay, I did this.
Yeah.
And was there a lesson, or was there a takeaway right away, or that you've thought on since then that was surprising?
Yeah, the thing that surprised me the most is that, in my opinion, 90% of being a successful author, and successful, I mean, everyone has their own idea of what's successful. Am I successful because I published a book? Yes. But if you want to actually sell your book, 90% of it is marketing. And I didn't realize that. I have no experience with marketing at all. Never went to school for marketing, have never sold anything in my life. So I really had to learn a lot about marketing, because I mean, I self-published, so I have to sell my books. I don't have somebody else selling them for me. I have to do it. So I had to open the Amazon account. I run ads on Amazon. I had to learn all about that. Social media is probably where I sell 90% of my books, so I really had to learn a lot about engaging with people on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and how to run ads on those 3 sources, because you can. And then I had to make a sell sheet so that I could go to different local shops in the area and present them with my books, and wholesale, and I mean, there's so many, my website and all that. So marketing is you really have to, and a lot of authors are introverts, and I kind of am too. Like I wasn't comfortable selling my book. The more you do it, the more comfortable you get. And I tell authors that. I say, look, I get it. I don't like selling things either, but that's fine. You can just keep your book in your garage, or you can get out there and fake it if you have to, but be like, hey, I have this. I mean, do you believe in your book? If you do, hey, I have this great book. You know, this is what it's about. This is who I am. I think it would do great in your store or in your school or wherever you're trying to market it to.
Is there anything in particular about living in a metropolitan area? We're here in the North Metro. You live in the northern part of Anoka County. Is there anything about where we live and the industry here and that's made that easier, or has been, you know, this is an area that's facilitates this kind of marketing or this kind of merchant that you are now?
So it is easier living in a metro area, because I have heard from other authors who live in the rural area and they don't have all the little local shops. Like here, I'm in East Bethel, so I can drive an hour and be pretty much anywhere in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. And I'll go on Facebook and say, hey, who owns a local shop, or who knows of a cute little store in the metro that might be interested in children's books? And 20 people will get back to me and say, oh, you should come to St. Paul, or hey, you should come to Minnetonka, or you should go to Isanti, or wherever. And so my book's in 25 local stores because I've been able to utilize where I'm living, like you said, and get out there and do that. And then also I do library story times, and living in Anoka County, you have the Anoka County Library, the Washington County, Minneapolis. I mean, you know, there's, it's all right here. And school visits too. There's a ton of school districts, obviously, in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. And so I will email principals and school librarians, and again, I have a whole process I go through to get school visits, but I've done a lot of those too, so I've been fortunate in that.
It seems like in the last 10 years or so that it's been this entrepreneurial thing that has really taken off. Obviously the internet, obviously social media, obviously remote workspaces, and just being able to work in your pajamas at home or in a coffee shop, you know, in addition to a regular job, right? You're doing this. This seems like the path that a lot of people say, man, if I only had the time, or if I only had a great idea, or if only I knew how to market. But I think that that's why I wanted to talk to you, is because you've done it, you're doing it, and you're still really, really toiling to get it off the ground. It's a success, but it's still a success that you're building. Is this emblematic, you think, of a lot of people who really have these ideas and are maybe at different parts of the process? Yeah,
I think so. I mean, when I had my idea, I wasn't teaching, and I had, let's see, I think I had the whole next year off, so I was able to really spend time and learn how to market my book and all that. But then I went back to teaching last year. So, again, I've talked to a lot of authors who have a full-time job. This is a full-time job. I mean, if you really want to sell your book, I spend at least 2 or 3 hours a day when I was teaching full-time doing this. So I would teach all day at McKinley, and I would be done at 4:30, and then I have 2 little kids, so I deal with them until 8 o'clock, and then I would sit down and I would deal with my book stuff until 10, say hi to my husband. Just kidding. Sorry, Will.
There's just not enough time.
Go to bed. But this year, so last summer, I was talking to my husband, and he's like, you know, if you really want your book dream to take off, maybe you should take another year off of teaching. So lucky for me, I have a really supportive husband who supports my dreams financially, and we're just really frugal this year. We have to be. And he picks up books at the printer for me, ships them to Amazon for me. So this year I'm not teaching, so I'm doing this all day. So I booked a lot of school visits this year, and a lot of interviews and book signings and things like that. But yeah, it's a lot of work. I mean, it's like I said, it's like another full-time job. So,
but it's possible.
It's possible. It's just exhausting.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I know, like I said, I know authors who are teaching all day and they do this at night and they're getting like 5 hours of sleep. And and I remember when I wrote my first book, I thought, I mean, I didn't think about that. I didn't know it was going to be this much work. But it is. It's a lot of work. But it's fun. I really like it. So the next mischief or the next adventure for Cami and Wyatt is the screen time issue. Yes. Which, again, with parents,
I know this for a fact. Screen time is a thing now. It's all right here, and getting the kids away from that. So this is the next story, and you're starting another campaign to help with
I am. So I have my little nifty save the date magnets here. It's launching on February 4th. And so over the summer, I was trying to think of what topic I would do next. And I don't want my books to be preachy, because obviously I'm not the perfect parent. So I want them to be fun and funny, but also an avenue to open discussion between parents and kids. So, hey, oh, you were at the dentist and you got some cavities. Let's read this book and kind of talk about that. Or, hey, your room is messy. Look, Cami has a messy room too. Let's see what she did to solve that problem. Or, so now it's the screen time. So my daughter wants me to make sure to tell you that she's not on her Kindle all the time.
Right.
But
Right.
they do like their tablets, obviously. And so I thought, other people probably have the same issue. I mean, I'm a teacher, so I hear about it all the time, about how kids are on video games and YouTube and all that. So I thought this would be a good topic to cover. And again, I need to be careful, because everybody has different opinions about screen time. A lot of people just think it's not a big deal to let their kids, and I'm not going to judge anyone. Like, my opinion is not what I want to force on anybody. And some kids don't let them have any screen time at all, and some just have set limits. And so it's not anything to do with that. It's just an avenue for you to discuss it with your child and what's right for you and your family.
Let's see I mean, we're talking about marketing.
Oh, yeah.
These little guys here. I want to have one of them here.
So in the last
fantastic.
couple years, people have always asked me, do you have a stuffed animal to go with your books? And I didn't, so I'd always just direct them to Amazon to somebody else's stuffed kangaroo. You're welcome. I want to cut from that.
Yeah, great.
But so some people, and I'm in a few author groups on Facebook, and some people in those groups were like, hey, there's this company called Got a Toy, and
Hold it up a little higher there. There we go.
If you send them your a drawing of your character, they'll make it look, and you can see it looks just like Cami and Wyatt from my books. So I sent them the illustrations of these guys, and if we had to edit and revise because they had some things that I wanted changed or whatever, but then I ordered a bunch of these, and I bring them to events and school visits and things like that. So
and again, it's another example of something you came up with in this very physical and very relatable and tactile thing. It's your idea and the illustrator's ideas that came about. So that's got to be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really fun. I have those, and then the bookmarks and the stickers and the coloring book and all the things to go with it. So
let's make sure that folks can find you on social media.
Okay.
Tell me where they can find you.
So I'm at Stacy C Bauer. So if you go on Facebook and you just type in Stacy C Bauer, it'll come up. Instagram, same thing. Twitter, same thing, and then my website is the same thing. So I tried to keep my uniform all the way down, so it's easy to find me. Yes. And if anybody has, I'm happy to help any authors out there who are stuck, because I was in the same place. I still am stuck plenty of the time. So if anybody ever wants to email me or anything, you can contact me on my website, and I'm happy to answer any questions, or through Facebook or Instagram or anything like that.
Okay. Stacy Bauer, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Very enjoyable discussion, and lots to learn from you as you continue to learn.
Thank you very much.
You got it. Check her out. Look for Cami, Kangaroo, and Wyatt and all their adventures online. For Conversations, I'm Rusty Ray.